Welcome, everybody, to the Redzone Report post-game show. I am your host, Izzy, and this is my co-host, Akeem Richens, co-founder of Built in Buffalo. Buffalo Bills and two other AFC East teams win in Week 1. As of now, the Jets play tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Anyway, enjoy the show. Welcome back, Bills Mafia. This is Izzy, and that is Akeem. We are here on the Built in Buffalo YouTube, X, and Facebook channels, here to discuss the Buffalo Bills Week 1 victory over the Arizona Cardinals, 34-28 in Buffalo. Whew, that game was a game. The Cardinals, gave us all we could handle in this game, and we came home with the victory, and that's really what counts. Also, the Dolphins pull out the last-second 52-yard field goal to defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars in Miami, and the New England Patriots went to Cincinnati and beat the Bengals 16-10. Pretty rough game for the Bengals, and so we ain't here to talk about them. We're here to talk about us. The Buffalo Bills played Arizona today in Buffalo, and some concerns and also some positives to take from the game. It's a very efficient game on offense, but still, some hiccups here and there. And yeah, we'll get to that. What do you think, Akeem?
Rich, Akeem Richens. If you don't know us by now, please, ladies and gentlemen, get to know us. We are Built in Buffalo. I'm happy to be getting back to the Redzone Report post-game show, right? Because we haven't done this in some time. Obviously, it hasn't been football in some time, and the Buffalo Bills played their regular season game today, and ultimately coming away with the victory, right? That's the most important thing. First and foremost, there's a lot of things that the Buffalo Bills have to clean up, which we'll definitely discuss and get into, but to come away with the victory, I think 1-0 is obviously a lot better than 0-1. We have a pretty tough stretch ahead, and this wasn't a gimme game, but this is a game that you wanted to have being at home to start the season for the Buffalo Bills. Kyler Murray, a Midwest team coming into your time, Eastern Standard Time zone, into your building, Highmark Stadium, and you came away with the victory, and it didn't look great in the beginning, right? Because they was dominating the time of possession. They was dominating the football. The defense couldn't get off the field. James Conner was a guy that was getting basically force-fed the football, and it was coming up with positive results. And then some unfortunate things happened with the roughing the passer, right? I mean, with the unnecessary roughness with Jamarcus Ingram on Kyler Murray, which when you showed the replay, it was clear that that wasn't the case, but I can't necessarily blame the refs there. I know we all want to go and blame the refs and hop on the refs in terms of their bad officiating, but this is full speed here, and it looked that way in full speed. So I understand why the refs threw the flag, even though I was upset we didn't get a call that should have went our way. I understood, and the Buffalo Bills, they came back and they showed some resiliency early on and was able to double dip. And that was something that I was elated to see. Josh Allen, come away now. Okay, what you want to do? You are the franchise quarterback. You are the guy. We're down 17-3 early in our building. You're the guy that we need to galvanize the offense and lead us back. And that's exactly what he did. And Joe Brady and his offensive play calling allowed Josh Allen to be in the game with both using his passing abilities with his strong arm and his rushing ability with his leg. Now he has that hand injury, right? We're going to monitor that and see what happens with Josh Allen and what's the news that's going to come about later on. But the way he was involved, he needed to be involved that way in order for the Buffalo Bills to come back and win this game. And overall, I was impressed with the way we came away with the victory on defense when it looked sketchy at times on defense early in the game. I was getting on Bobby Babish a little bit early in the game, and we was able to come back and proclaim victory. So I'm happy at the end of the day with this Sunday result.
Absolutely, yeah. Josh put the team on his back, especially in that second quarter and then went to the second half. Efficiency was the name of his game today. Freaking 18 to 23, 78% completion percentage today, 137.7 passer rating. 2 touchdowns through the air, 2 on the ground. He's already starting this season with the rushing touchdowns and being put in harm's way a little bit there. He takes hits well. Like, he doesn't really get hit hard. And so that to me is why he's able to run like he does. But still want him to cool down with that. I want to use Ray Davis more in those situations. Ray Davis looked pretty good when he was running the ball. And, I saw a comment here by Grant Hanlon. Welcome everybody who's in the comments, though. The rest are trash. Yeah, they were in mid-season form already, making questionable calls. It was pretty terrible. And I'm just glad to see that they're already, ready to dump on the season because it was pretty bad out there. Like the roughing the passer that they called on Kyler Murray, that was nonsense. There was one that they called against the Cardinals. I thought was pretty nonsense. It was a poorly ref game, but for the most part, the players were able to seal that. Russo was a monster out there today. Von Miller got himself a sack. That was pretty cool. Glad he was out there and he was able to push that lineman into Kyler Murray's lap while he was out there. Epinesa was in Kyler Murray's face. The D-line was good. The offensive line was pretty solid. But the penalties they got to clear that penalty crap up, man. The penalties were a killer. Cyrus Torrance had 2. Deion Dawkins had 2. Spencer Brown had 1. Like they got to clean that crap up. That stuff's not acceptable. The cleanest ones were the center, Connor McGovern, who's new to center this year. Not new as he's never played it before, but he's been playing guard for the last 5 years. And then freaking our boy David Edwards, no penalties on him. So I'm just glad that those 2 guys were able to keep it clean and allow the game to come to them. Hold up very well in the run game, and yeah, I was happy with the way the offense looked after the second quarter, after the second half of the first half of the second quarter. The game itself, though, a little sloppy, a lot of stuff to clean up, but with the negative come the positive. It was a heck of a game, and Khalil Shakir, man, that touchdown was something to behold.
Running back with the ball in his hands,
defender, and then just.
Yeah. Khalil Shakir is just like a running back with the football in his hands, right? And let's go ahead and break this down, right? Let's talk about the offense a little bit first, right? And then we're going to flip over to the defensive side of the ball. So let's, our Josh Allen, our franchise quarterback, his performance today, 18 to 23, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, 9 attempts, 39 yards, another 2 touchdowns on the ground. He was the guy. Right, he was the alpha male on the field today. Yes, there were 2 plays he could have had back, in my opinion. The first play was the fumble, obviously, right? I think he held the ball too long there. You have to have pocket awareness at some point and understand, okay, these are NFL defenders at the end of the day. No matter if they have a name that's felt in that defensive line or not, you have to know your mental clock, right? And I think another play he would like to have back is that MVS deep ball, that deep post where he was in the middle of the field. Definitely got to hit that play. But other than those 2 plays, I think, You know, Josh Allen played a tremendous game. I like how Joe Brady involved Josh Allen and gave us what we need to see weekly, and it's a balance, right? Because it's like, okay, Josh Allen, he hurt his hand, and we don't want to put him in harm's way. But at the same time, the Buffalo Bills offense is at their best when Josh Allen is able to utilize both his arms and his legs. So I would love to figure out a balance where we can use it when necessary and we can hold off when necessary. Obviously, being down 2 scores early at home week 1 kind of stunning everybody. It was necessary this game, but going forward, hopefully we can do some things and keep him out of harm's way, especially if he's going to be battling injury with his non-throwing hand. But overall, Josh Allen, I think he played a great football game, leading his team to victory. Josh Allen, what's your thoughts on our franchise quarterback's play today?
I mean, again, very efficient, effective, accurate. Like he was a man amongst boys out there. You know, I'd rather not see him jump over people if you don't have to, but on that play, it's a touchdown. I'm okay with it. Unfortunate that he, elbowed his own hand with all his weight going down on it, but luckily it's his non-throwing hand, so not that big a deal. Probably take some time to heal if he broke a bone in his hand, but again, he's not a lefty, so I'm not worried about that. He went out there, he balled out, man. Like the first quarter, he looked a little bit out of sorts. He looked comfortable, a little too comfortable in that first drive. The offensive line was doing good, but you hold the ball more than 4 seconds, someone's coming free. And to me, that was his biggest mistake, was just holding that ball a little too long. And then after that happened, he cleaned that up. He right away was like, all right, that's on me. I mean, Deion Dawkins can only hold this guy up for so long. And yeah, he utilized the tools that were given to him. I mean, he spread the ball around a lot. Like everybody ate. The only one who he threw the ball to that didn't get a catch was Ty Johnson. It was that one pass where he threw it into the wind and he dirted it a little bit in front of him.
9 different receivers. 9 different receivers
Yeah,
today.
9 different receivers had a catch. 10 were targeted.
Mm-hmm.
Coleman had 4 receptions. Shakir 3 receptions. James Cook 3 receptions. Mac Hollins 2. MVS had the 1 that got us a first down. Curtis Samuel got 2. Like they spread the ball around quite a bit. Ray Davis had a catch. Dalton Kincaid had only 1 catch. That's the surprise. Surprised that Dalton Kincaid only had 1 catch, while Dawson Knox, had a catch that was a little further downfield and was targeted. Was it? Yeah, they were both targeted twice. They both came up with 1 catch. That's the only surprise, was that Dalton Kincaid was not more involved, but I think that might have been part of the game plan because teams are going to key in on Dalton Kincaid. And so what do? You let everybody else eat. And Mac Hollins, one hell of a game. Blocking very well, as we expected. And then his route running, especially on that touchdown catch, thing of beauty. So Josh Allen utilized the tools. And
you got your dogs going off. Got your dogs going off there.
Someone's at the door.
But yeah, absolutely. Josh definitely utilized all his resources in this game. With 9 different receivers having a reception, right? And Keon Coleman leading the way with 4 receptions and 51 yards, 12.8 yards per catch. I really like what I saw from Keon Coleman. He gave Josh Allen a 50-50 guy, a 50-50 ability guy. We saw it in the first game of the season today with the deep pass, and Keon Coleman came down with it, and he tried to go back with Keon Coleman again, but it was that's probably another pass Josh Allen could have had back, because I really feel if Josh Allen hit the back shoulder there, Keon Coleman would have had a better opportunity to make that play. But overall, I like what I saw from Keon Coleman. Wide frame, gave him some attacking ability down the field, provides a red zone presence, and provides a big body in situations where it's where you have to read the zone and sit in that zone. And I think that Keon Coleman played well today as his first NFL action as the Buffalo Bills wide receiver.
Yeah, he definitely showed why the Buffalo Bills took him with their first pick in the draft. He definitely showed poise out there. He showed physicality, and man, he showed them hands. Like he threw or he caught everything thrown his way except for one ball, and that was that one in the end zone. But that one wasn't on him. It really almost looked like Josh was throwing it away, kind of like we saw Josh doing in that Patriots game in the playoffs. But Knox was behind there to catch it. It looked almost like that, but I'm not positive about that. So they attributed that target to Keon Coleman. But yeah, he's showing that we drafted him for the right reasons. He's going out there, he's catching the ball over defenders, and he's making people miss. And his separation isn't really a problem. It's just not. I really like the way he played and he showed himself today. Along with Shakir and Mac Hollins, like those three, hell of a game. So,
and we talk about Dalton Kincaid having a quiet game. I think that this is the type of team that we're going to have for the duration of the season. He might have that game next game or the game after. I think the Buffalo Bills, with the type of receiving core they have and the type of culture they wanted to build, I think this is purposeful, right? Anybody can beat you on any given Sunday. And if this one particular person don't beat you this Sunday, he's not going to go ahead and pout and give that negative vibe and give that negative energy on the sideline. He's going to understand that, okay, this was best for the team at the end of the day. And this is the culture that the Buffalo Bills coaching staff want to have within the Buffalo Bills locker room. So Dalton Kincaid, he probably had a quiet game today, but the next game may be his game, or if it's not his game, the next game, someone else may step up. But today, Keon Coleman led the team in yards, and everybody was sprinkled in for the Buffalo Bills' success on offense. Let's talk about James Cook. 19 attempts, where he had about 70 yards today. 19 attempts, 71 yards, 3.7 yards per carry. He had a long of 15. What did you think about his performance today? I like what I saw from him. I like that Joe Brady showed the consistency to keep going to him, even down in red zone situations. So what's your thoughts?
I really did like James Cook's performance. He would have had a lot more yards if it wasn't for the penalties. Like, he had a couple of big runs called back. James Cook was a lightning rod out there, and he makes people miss in the hole. Like, usually we attributed that to Devin Singletary when he was here. He had Zamir White in the hole, and he was dead to rights. A little stutter step to the left, and he was gone. The running game was very good. The running game was very good. Ray Davis was pretty good out there too. Ty Johnson, had a couple of key little contributing runs, but James Cook was outstanding today. I think that we're going to see a lot more from him, and I liked that I saw him with two hands on the ball a little bit more. And he looked stronger. He said he put on some weight this offseason. He definitely looked a lot stronger running the ball. So
That's
middle.
That's what I appreciated most about James Cook. He looked short-handed today. You gave him the football. He seemed short-handed. You threw him the football. He caught the ball with confidence. He made plays. He was efficient today. And I think as the season goes along, we're going to continue to find ways to get James Cook the football and open up the offense, not only for James Cook, but like you said, Ray Davis as well, right? Like you said, Ty Johnson as well. I think this is just the beginning stages of endless possibilities that you can actually do with the Buffalo Bills backfield. And they're probably not mentioned as one of the better backfields in the NFL or the top 10 backfields in the NFL, but you have three guys that can do a multitude of things. And when you have the guys that can do a multitude of things and showcase that versatility, you can do so many things within that backfield to create mismatch nightmare for the opposing defense. So today I really like what I saw from the backfield. Short-handed, didn't cough up the ball, caught the ball when you had the opportunity to catch the ball, and it was a very efficient day from the Buffalo Bills backfield when you're not including Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen and his rushing ability and what he was able to do obviously put the whole Russian backfield, that core, over the top.
It absolutely did. And, Josh Allen, his ability to run the ball, and it's usually to the outside. Josh Allen runs the ball. So they had to kind of keep their defense wide, leaving lanes up the middle for James Cook to be able to, cook. So James was cooking up the middle, and Josh was cooking him on the outside. And yeah, that's how that goes. If you have a quarterback like Josh Allen or like Kyler Murray, hit him today too. He was running to the outside. He was opening James Conner's lanes in the middle. He was running to the outside, so we had to respect the outside lanes, and because of that, James Conner was able to get free a few times. And with that being said, the offense will go through the running game a lot, but I liked what I saw in the passing game, and James Cook was a big part of that. That 25-yard reception for the first down early was nice, and so I'm just happy that we have a group of guys who can really put things together and play efficient ball for us. That was very, very, very important to keep defenses honest. And running the ball, how many were 33 runs and 23 passes? We went run heavy, and a lot of people doubted that we were going to do that. We were 60-30 or 60-40 run to pass ratio, and that was really a big difference in the game. Usually the Bills are not that run heavy, but this week we were, and so I think we'll see a lot more of that. I also noticed that in the second quarter, James Cook didn't take a single touch, and I think that they're trying to make sure that he doesn't get beat down all season. So they're gonna try and have him see the ball less.
I mean, it's definitely a possibility there. Like I said, I think the Buffalo Bills have guys in the background, guys behind James Cook that's very versatile and mobile and can make plays as well. Like we spoke about Ray Davis and we spoke about Ty Johnson. These are not slouches at the running back position. And yeah, we want to keep James Cook as healthy as possible for the duration of the season and going forward. Before we transition over to the defense to cap off, and if you want to give a rebuttal, that's fine. To cap off about the offense, it was a solid showing. It was a very good showing. Let's not ignore it was 34 points scored today by the Buffalo Bills offense. So I'm not gonna, it's always things that you can want to have back, or there's not a perfect game, so to speak, out there where there will be no complaints about. We can continue to nitpick and we can continue to grow from this game, even though we scored 34 points. And the Buffalo Bills ultimately played a solid game. And going forward, we have to keep the penalties down, right? That not only on the offensive side of the ball, on all levels, offense, defense, and special teams. And we have to continue to develop the passing game down the field when necessary. I think Josh Allen opened up the passing game down the field in the second half, and I think that's something that we're going to have to continue to do if we're going to continue to develop as an offense for the Buffalo Bills with the skill position players we had. But overall, offensively, scoring 34 points, Josh Allen playing a damn good game with 2 passing touchdowns and 2 running touchdowns. James Cook looked efficient. Keon Coleman looked impressive in his first game. Khalil Shakir showed off his run after the catch ability. We've seen Mac Hollins in there show strong hands, and possibly he can be a bigger component to the offense than we all thought that he could initially be coming from the Atlanta Falcons last season, right? So it's a lot of things that we can be excited about and show positive vibes to. So I'm going to take this victory and take this impressive showing by the Buffalo Bills offense in week 1.
Absolutely, yeah. And, I was pleasantly surprised by it. I didn't really think that Mac Hollins was going to be as big a part of the offense as he is, and I'm glad that he is. And you look at it, like the last few years, he hasn't really had good quarterback play when he was with Vegas and with Atlanta. Desmond Ridder, I don't even know if he's on an NFL team right now. He might be on the practice squad or something like that. But that's who he had throwing the ball last year. And, today, Atlanta with Kirk Cousins, Kyle Pitts finally got to see a little action, which he got himself a touchdown. And so you improve the quality of the quarterback, the receivers have better chances of catching balls. And I think that he had a good showing receiving, and he had a very good showing also run blocking. So I was very impressed by Matt Collins, very happy with his play. His performance was nothing more than you would expect.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Izzy, this is the Red Zone post game, Red Zone Report post game show. Got your host Izzy, A. Rich, Hakeem Richens. If you don't know us by now, please get to know us. The Buffalo Bills have defeated by the Arizona Cardinals by the score of 34-28. And now, we spoke about the offense a little bit. I want to transition over to the defense because in the beginning, when I was watching the game, I was concerned, right? They was dominating the time of possession. James Conner could do anything that he wanted to do. The coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball for the Cardinals realized he could do anything he wanted to do in the beginning, and they was force feeding him the ball to great success. Kyler Murray was finding success with his arms and his legs, and it seemed as if the Arizona Cardinals was doing anything they wanted to do the first couple of possessions on offense. So I was concerned. I was already calling for Babish, like, yo, maybe he's not the guy to call plays. But then the Buffalo Bills ultimately, I think, turned it around in the second half, played better defense. Of course, there was hiccups, but played better defense in the second half and ultimately held this Arizona Cardinals offense in check at times when they needed to most, in the most crucial situations, ultimately winning the game. So give me your thoughts about the defense, what you saw, what you liked or disliked, and give me some even players that you want to discuss and talk about.
So Terrell Bernard had a beast of a game.
He did.
But I was ultimately very worried when Taron Johnson went down. But Cam Lewis went out there and called out.
Yeah, he did.
Cam Lewis, that little move he's got where he ducks under the offensive lineman trying to block him and he just gets small and keyholes it. And then he had a one-arm tackle on James Conner. That boy is too big to be one-arm tackling, and Cam Lewis pulled it off. My buddy was with me watching the game. He was like, hold up, he just one-arm tackled James Conner? I was like, yep. So it looked like he grabbed him by the hip and spun him around. Cam Lewis went out there and had one hell of a game. 10 tackles, 7 of them solo. And I was highly impressed by him. Terrell Bernard, 11 tackles, 10 of them solo. Dorian Williams, with that fumble recovery, just see ball, get ball.
Mm-hmm.
He had some hiccups in the game, Dorian Williams did, but overall, I think it was a good performance for him. Mm-hmm. And Taylor Rapp, I think, also had a very good game at safety, knocking the ball out and making sure that if a reception was going to be made, that the guys weren't going anywhere. I really enjoyed Taylor Rapp's performance.
He played
Benford
well.
had a solid day, but he had that one catch caught over him, especially when he went for the interception instead of smacking the ball down in the end zone. You got to bat that ball down. You can't be trying to go for that pick right there.
I mean, again, this is week one, and even myself, right? We gotta have some cause for pause. This is the beginning stages where we have the reality of having a rookie defensive coordinator calling plays, and you're going to go through some things, and you're going to go through some growing pains, not only with players, you're going to go through growing pains with coaches as well. And earlier, some things seemed too easy. It was too pitch and catch earlier in the game, and it's now about, okay, this happened, right? And this can happen to anybody, but what are you going to do about it? Do you have the wherewithal, the mental capacity and ability and the mind to make the necessary adjustments as a coach and implement that within your players and improve going forward when you saw deficiencies in the past? And Coach Bobby Babish, I think, was able to do that, and he showcased the ability to do that throughout the course of the game, where the blitz looked obvious early in the game. The blitz was looked better and well timed later in the game, where the pocket was collapsing for Kyler Murray, and he was able to get outside and use his legs a lot early in the game. It was better managed, and we showed a spy. And even though it didn't work at times, but he showed the ability to make an adjustment, and now it's up to players to make plays, right? So I really like what I've seen from Bobby Babish as a defensive coordinator from an adjustment standpoint, getting gashed early and kind of being on your heels early to all of a sudden now offense helps with that, right? When Josh Allen can score back to back in the end of the half and the beginning of the half, and the offense can definitely give confidence to the defense, and it's about energy and vibes for the entire team. And I think that was beneficial for Bobby Babish and the defense. But ultimately, he had to make those adjustments, and the defense had to make plays. And did they make them? Right? Gregory Rousseau looked dominant out there. Broderick Jones, it wasn't no fluke. What we seen with Gregory Rousseau in the preseason, the way he manhandled the right tackle in Broderick Jones, he came out and he was forceful again today. Had 3 sacks, looked like a menace. Played to his size. He looked like a menace out there, and I was elated to see Gregory Rousseau make that type of impact in today's game, because that's what we're going to need from him going forward. We always understood and knew that, okay, he is a great run defender. He can use his length and use his ability to set that edge, and he has that length and ability to be that great run defender like we've seen over the course of the first couple of seasons. But can he take that next step into rushing the passer? Can he take that next level in his progression and get to the quarterback? And he's ultimately doing so, at least so far in this first game of the season. So I have to shout him out as one of the defensive standouts of the game for the Buffalo Bills in Gregory Rousseau.
Yeah, Groot had one hell of a game. Like he's trying to get paid. He ain't even playing around. He's trying to get that money. And like we were talking about that before the show. You said they better do it now before the price goes up too high. Yeah, he had one hell of a day, and I'm very happy to see him grow. And he looks a lot more aggressive out there, which I think is very, very key to him producing at a high level. But also, Daquan Jones looked good up the middle. And I think that the secondary doing what they were doing, like Jamarcus Ingram had a heck of a game too, going out there and playing what he was, the way he was playing. That penalty, that nonsense penalty that happened, I think everybody knows, and I don't think anybody's holding it against Jamarcus Ingram, but it is on his stat sheet. And so by the time the season ends, people will be looking at it like, oh, that was a penalty on Jamarcus Ingram, but a stain on the stat sheet is just that. It's just a stain. So I like the way he played, but man, Rousseau, like you said, man, he was just amazing today. And putting defensive linemen in Kyler Murray's lap, and Kyler Murray can't see. And here's another thing. The Dolphins are not exactly good on the offensive line. And Taron Armstead, their left tackle, he's got the injury bug all the time. He's always getting hurt. And so if he happens to have anything happen to him, his backup is in trouble. And heck, he might even be in trouble too with Greg Rousseau bearing down on him, because Rousseau was playing left and right. He didn't just play on one side of the line. They moved him around. Later in the game, he was on the right side playing against the left tackle, and Von Miller was taking on the right tackle. So, yeah, I like the fact that he can play both sides as well. That's very important. Very, very, very important that you have a guy who can do that. So I'm very happy about him and his progress. I just hope that it doesn't hit the bank too hard. You know what I'm saying? Because that's going to be a heavy hit to the bank. Can't hear you.
I think another guy that played well today is Von Miller. I think Von Miller, we've been getting on Von Miller and talking about his contract and the lack of production he showed, but he was actually hurt last season, and we were always concerned coming into this season with his age and his contract and his injury. Can he be a guy to come back and showcase what he showcased pre-injury, right? And having that 8 or 8.5 sacks within his first 9 games. And in today's game, he showed a bull rush. He showed an ability to get to the quarterback, having a sack and throwing the tackle into the quarterback's lap. So I really like what I saw from Von Miller today. And I think that's a stepping stone into the right direction for a guy like Von Miller. And I think this can compound as the season progresses. I think he's going to do it nothing but get stronger game in and game out. So Von Miller, man. I know we get on him when he wasn't producing. He produced today. He showed up today. I seen him pop today, and that was refreshing to see as well. So shout out Von Miller for having a good football game.
Von did have a good game. Epinesa didn't get any sacks, but he definitely had a good game containing the pocket and sealing the edge off later on. Early on, the defense was pretty bad at keeping Kyler Murray in the pocket. Later on, they were much better at it with Epinesa, Von Miller, and Rousseau. The defensive tackles could have had a better day. I think Daquan had a solid day, but Ed was kind of, I don't know if it was week one jitters or if it was just a little off, but it wasn't bad by any stretch, but he just wasn't as good as he usually is. Did see Dwayne Carter in there. Didn't notice too much of the rest of the defensive tackles, but again, it's week one. Casey Toohill played pretty solid, but I think that the defense overall, like the linebackers as well, Terrell Bernard and Dorian Williams, they showed themselves pretty well, and so I'm happy overall with the defense's play. I just wish that they would have had it together from the beginning because they allowed 28 points, and so that's not great.
I mean, let's listen. As much as we talk about getting the victory and the offense playing well and the defense coming together when they needed to. 9 penalties wasn't great. The special teams was horrible. Shout out Tyler Bass. He made all his kicks, but the special teams and with the penalties starting off at the 40-yard line with the 96-yard return for the touchdown. That's just. That can't happen. That cannot happen. The Buffalo Bills, we have all the momentum. Josh Allen just scored a touchdown, and the very next play, 96 yards to the house. That's unacceptable. That can't happen. The special teams, we have to play better. Our coach, he has to do a better job. We got to do a better job on special teams.
So yeah, I agree with that. I think the wind had a little bit to do with all that too, though. Like that, the one that when he started at the 40. And went out of bounds. That wind was hell today. I don't know if you saw the flags. Of course you did. You had to be. You watched the game. Like 19-mile-an-hour winds is no joke. And so I get it, but like you said, same time you have to cover that kick. You can't let a guy like that break it. And then there was like nobody in his way. He just had a straight shot to the end zone. He didn't have to juke nobody or break any tackles. He was just gone. And so maybe they're gonna have to rearrange who they put where on those kick coverages, but that was an atrocious play, that 96-yard return. They got to do better than that. And there's nothing without the criticism because you have to take the good and the bad. That was ugly. It was ugly, but also credit to Bass for making the kicks in that wind because I saw that field goal that the Cardinals kicker made, and that ball was just doing this. I was like, whoa, okay, that's not great. And we're all worried about Bass. He drilled this kick, so good for him. And yeah, but Brandon Codrington with his return, that was a pretty beautiful thing. That was a brilliant move.
Impressive.
That him in.
Yeah, that was impressive. That was an impressive play right there. And I see as he's running and had that impressive return, it's like, okay, now we all see who is this guy? Where do we? Oh, now we see why Brandon Beane made this move early on. So hopefully it could be something that could be early and often, and it could be something that turns into, we don't even want to kick to this guy anymore. So we'll see what happens there. It was a good start for him, and that's a positive note that we can take besides Tyler Bass making all his kicks and the extra point attempts. That's a positive note we can take from the special teams as well. But
he made them kick it to the end zone every time after that for the most part. Like they're like, we're not kicking to this guy again. And so the 30-yard line is a nice place to start.
What about DeMar Hamlin? He showed that he wasn't a liability out there. I don't think he gets enough credit and gets enough praise of what he's accomplishing at this very moment. He's currently the starting safety for the Buffalo Bills, and I believe he was in on several tackles, and he showcased his ability to mix it up and his ability to be physical at the point of attack. So I really like what I saw from him as well, and I think the combination of him and Taylor Rapp is not one you would expect, but possibly one that can grow on you, and we'll see how the safety position continues to develop for the Buffalo Bills as the weeks go on. We know Cole Bishop is healthy, but he's a rookie, and the safety position in the Buffalo Bills defense is an important one. It's definitely a learning curve to come about compared to playing college ball into being a safety for the Buffalo Bills defense. But in week one, Damar Hamlin, I think a lot of people when they heard him starting, and us that are not casuals and understand and see the Buffalo Bills on a daily basis, we probably wasn't thrilled with the idea of a Damar Hamlin being a starting safety for the Buffalo Bills. But he showcased the ability today to make plays, and I'm happy that he was able to have some success and make plays for the Buffalo Bills today. Courageous effort from him.
Yeah, absolutely. And people were saying, talking about because of last year, he didn't look great and he didn't play a lot. I mean, last year he just come off of that, that death scare that we all had, and a lot of mental hurdles. He basically did a tour of the world, as a guy who survived, and that's crazy. But mentally, there had to be some hurdles that he had to get past. Just like Von Miller last year, like trusting the knee, like Von said, like I hurt my knee, I was 100% healthy physically, but the mental hurdle is where it's at. And Tre'Davious White, the same thing when he got hurt and then came back from his knee injury. He didn't look right that next year. It was less than a year removed from it. He came back, and he just didn't look the same. And then the next year, he looked fine. So I think that the mental hurdle of a catastrophic injury like that is going to be something that you have to deal with for a while. And now he's out there playing ball, and he looks good. I mean, he was good before when he played for Micah Hyde that whole season until that injury happened. But like I said before, I'm not really that concerned about safeties because that's McDermott's bread and butter. He's always been good with safeties. And then so is Bobby Babich. He had Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, both all pros. He had linebackers, all pros. Like that's what he does. And so, I mean, Tyrell Dodson last year looked excellent under the tutelage of Bobby Babich and Sean McDermott. So I'm not really worried about Damar Hamlin. He's been in the defense now. This is his fourth year in this defense. He knows this defense inside and out. Question is, can he read the offense, and then can he do what he's assigned to do? And he's proven that he can. So I was very impressed with Damar Hamlin's play today. And that's one of the guys that other opposing teams' fans have been ragging on.
Absolutely. I'm very, very impressed with his play, and we're going to see if he could continue with the positive play going forward. Another thing that I think that that it probably isn't talked about enough is Brandon Beane and his ability to draft. Right. Now the Buffalo Bills haven't been in a situation where they can, top 10 pick, top picks where they can get these, dynamic franchise players, so to speak, players. But his awareness and understanding how to draft is, I think, is a hidden talent that he possesses. We was all talking about why in the world are we drafting linebackers in the third round back-to-back years, right? Why are we doing this? This is just dumb. And these guys are not even projected as third round guys. They was projected to fall later. So now not only are we drafting guys in the third round back-to-back, but we're drafting guys higher than the analysts say that these guys should go. But now both these guys, Terrell Bernard is proving his worth. Dorian Williams is starting to prove his worth. Yes, can he work on some things in terms of courage and not getting beat in certain situations? Absolutely. But to be a third round, second year pro and to showcase what he showcased last year, I think this is an incredible feat for the Buffalo Bills, and incredibly lucky to have both these linebackers that nobody wanted back to back in the third round, right? So I have to shout out Brandon Beane for getting these guys, drafting these guys, and the coaching staff for developing these guys and putting these young guys in the right position to make plays.
Absolutely, yeah. And so Brandon Beane knows the defense and the offense as well. He knows the schemes that we're running and what we want to do, and he knows who to go get and when to go get them for the most part. I mean, one of the biggest things I've seen going leading up to this game was the Worthy versus Coleman argument. It was like, yeah, Worthy had a couple nice plays. He had 2 touches and 2 touchdowns. Awesome. They were drawn up that way. Coleman's actually putting in the work at receiver though. He's putting in that work as a wide receiver on the outside, running routes, catching balls, making people miss, and mossing people. To be honest, I don't see Xavier Worthy being that guy, and I don't see that being a need for the Buffalo Bills in this offense. I don't see them utilizing that type of player as they use the guys that they have. He's not capable of the things that Keon Coleman is, and Keon's not capable of things that he is. So the type of player that Brandon Beane wanted, he went and got. And so, yeah, I think that you're spot on with that, especially with the late round picks too, like corners and safeties, like freaking Cam Lewis, not drafted. Taron Johnson, 4th round pick. Christian Benford, 6th round pick. Like he knows who's out there and he knows what he's looking at.
Hey, with Jamarcus Ingram, he made the final play. Where did he come from? Where did Jamarcus Ingram come from? Right? He come from a couple of years on the practice squad, and this is what Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott, this is what they talk about, right? They talk about developing players, and that holds true. And the same guys we're talking about now, right? And Jamarcus Ingram is another guy that shows his worth, right, in a developmental process of the Buffalo Bills organization. That's a guy that I wouldn't think that would be making plays in a game today for the Buffalo Bills. And here he is out here making the 53-man roster and in crucial parts of the game and making the biggest plays of the game, Jamarcus Ingram. So that showcased that, it's great to have a system in place that that believes in development, and it's great that it actually comes to fruition when we see players progress along the years for the Buffalo Bills. And hopefully, the guys, the rookies that we have now are going to be another proponent of that. I've seen comments in the comment section in terms of why didn't Cole Bishop play today? It just wasn't his time, right? And I spoke about Brandon Beane and the linebackers, and I spoke about the development in a Cam Lewis and in a Jamarcus Ingram. So when I hear questions like, why didn't Cole Bishop play? I'm gonna say it's not his time, and I'm gonna say because of the case studies we do have, right? Taron Johnson, even Kyer Elam had a hell of a preseason, right? We're seeing that we should trust Sean McDermott in his guys and when the guys should play and the development of guys because of the other guys that he's developed during his tenure for the Buffalo Bills. So would I've liked to see Cole Bishop play today? Absolutely, of course. But if he didn't play, I'm not going to complain or even question why he didn't play. It just wasn't his time right now. Terrell Bernard didn't play a whole season, right? So.
Absolutely, yeah. And Dorian Williams didn't really play much last year either, 3rd round pick. Sometimes, guys don't see the field. Also, he's just coming off that shoulder injury. All right. So if you got guys who you believe are capable, you don't rush him back for no reason. I'm not saying they're saying he's not injured now or he's not in an injury report, but he's not 100% yet. And so if the guys that you have in there are playing well, then why would you remove them? I mean, if DeMar Hamlin has a really good year this year, he's probably going elsewhere. Right? He's probably going elsewhere. So you let him have his year if he plays up to par. You let Cole Bishop sit down. You let him ride the bench for a year. You let him learn the defense and the scheme because he's more of a box safety, right? He can play deep. He can play all the other spots, but he's used to a different defensive scheme. He's now in this one, so he's got to learn this scheme. Coming out of college, Dorian Williams said last year, like, look, the defense we played at Tulane was nowhere near this complicated. It was way more simple than this. I'm doing a lot more stuff now, just pre-play, not even actions where I'm moving around, but pre-play, having to read the offense and knowing my assignments within this defense, depending on what they're doing on offense. Like he's like, it's night and day. And so I'm assuming coming from Utah, it's probably pretty similar. I mean, playing safety is playing safety, but now your role as a safety is going to be a little different. especially with this scheme and the way we use safeties in Buffalo versus how he was used at Utah. And so the development of a player like Cole Bishop could be a quick process or it could be a long-term process. But if you got somebody who can play and not have to worry about that, then you let that guy who can play, and then you use him when he's ready. And so, like you said, it's not his time yet. It's not his time yet. We'll wait for his time.
And
Patience is a virtue.
And and again, it all depends. It all depends. There's a trickle effect on how things happen. How long, how severe is that Teron Johnson injury, right? That is something that we're going to be monitoring throughout the week. Hopefully, obviously the first thing is we don't want no season enders. That's my first thing. As long as he can come back, if he has to miss a couple of weeks, it would hurt, yes. But as long as he could come back at some point, I would be fine with. And being that, last year this time, if we was to lose Teron Johnson for a significant amount of time, I would say who's going to play this nickel cornerback position. But now, watching today's game, we look like we have some guys with the ability to do so in a Cam Lewis or a Jamarcus Ingram or guys of that sort, and they had success. And being that he had success, that's probably another reason why a Cole Bishop wasn't needed. But depending on the injury to Teron Johnson, and the matchup is maybe different from week to week. We may see Cole Bishop in certain matchups in certain situations, depending on the team we play that week. So we'll definitely see what happens and how the whole the back end continues to develop back there, because obviously there's a lot of different pieces and moving parts. But so far today, it wasn't a bad showing.
Yeah, no, it was a beautiful showing, I think, from Cam Lewis. He had an excellent game. And then Jamarcus Ingram on that breakup at the end when Kyler threw that pass to Dortch, which I was surprised he picked Dortch on that play, but that's neither here nor there. It felt like he was pre-planning where he was going with the ball, and that's their problem, not ours. So I think that they played very, very well. I mean, losing Teron Johnson is a big loss, but when you have guys who can play still, like they can play, it's just the quality of the play is not going to be as high. But that duck under move, man, that's a wrestling move. I don't know if you know that little move that he does to them offensive line. That's a wrestling move.
It's a wrestling move. Interesting. Yeah, that's a hell of a move.
It's one of my favorite wrestling moves when I was in high school, because I could not shoot to save my life. I was a terrible shot. I was a defender, and I could get around somebody with a duck under. He was using that brilliantly. So
yeah,
very happy to see it. I'm just glad that on run plays he was able to get around those linemen when they were pulling. I think he might have been playing the run better than Taron, but in the pass game and then also making pre-play calls or, making calls, waiting for the offense to snap the ball. Taron Johnson is probably a better communicator. And so he's one of the top two nickels in the league. Absolutely. Losing him is going to hurt.
Absolutely.
But I'm glad that we kept Cam Lewis around for just for the reasons we saw today. Very impressed.
The Buffalo Bills, week 1, come out on opening weekend, kick off the NFL, defeating the Arizona Cardinals by a score of 34-28. It was, it was nerve-wracking. It wouldn't be if it wasn't the Buffalo Bills, right? We're always in these type of ball games where, it's touch and go throughout the course of the game. But today, like many other days, we proclaimed victory, and it was a solid performance with this relatively new team, right? This is a team where there's a lot of naysayers out there that's saying, hey, the Miami Dolphins are the favorite in the AFC East, or the New York Jets are the favorite in the AFC East. They don't really, the Buffalo Bills are not really getting that AFC East favorite love. And I think the moving parts is obviously a big proponent of that. But today in week 1, the Buffalo Bills showed that they still have Josh Allen. They still have James Cook. That defense buckled up when necessary and ultimately getting the victory. And now it's on to Miami. So, Izzy, I mean, what else you got?
Well, the last player to mention that was a concern somewhat throughout the preseason and offseason was Sam Martin. Not worried about him anymore. Not at all. Two punts, 85 yards. We don't punt enough to really worry about it. Plus, averaging 42.5 per punt. Not concerned. But after that, nothing really. Like the the game played out in a way that I thought it could play out. I thought that the Bills would have a hard time, but I knew that there was a possibility that they could torch the Cardinals. The Cardinals came out to play. They're a pro offense as well, and they have a quarterback in Kyler Murray who can move and has an arm on him. So the only knock I can really put on Kyler Murray is that he's short, and because of that, he can't make the right decision every time because he can't see over everybody. But they went out there. They played one hell of a game. The Buffalo Bills went out there and took the game back, won the game. And that's what matters. It's week one, and week one is a liar 50% of the time. Last year, we lost week one, won the division. Jets won week one. They didn't make the playoffs. And so that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you lose week one. But there's a lot of football left to be played. It's time to find out what this team is made out of this week on Thursday. We see the Dolphins, 4 days. Both the Bills and the Dolphins. Short week and then get that simulated bye. It's going to be interesting. And next week, the show will be at 7 because the Redzone report's at 7 when there's no Sunday games. And the post game will be covered by who?
Oh yeah, you're not gonna be on you gonna be in the post game?
No, Thursday I won't be on post game.
Thursday on post game. Oh, I think
it's the hoof. I think.
I believe so. I believe it's the hoof. We'll work it out. We'll work it out.
Yeah. I was talking to Dave, and he said he thinks the hoof's gonna cover the Thursday. So, Fridays I have meetings, so I can't do Thursday night.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. Excellent performance by the Buffalo Bills, coming away with the victory from the Arizona Cardinals, 1-0. This is, first of hopefully many, right? This is the first of hopefully many for the Buffalo Bills. This is what we want to see. We want to see our guy Josh Allen make the necessary plays to put his team over the top, right? It was only 2 captains announced for the Buffalo Bills. It was Josh Allen on offense, Terrell Bernard on defense. Josh Allen was down early in this game. We needed our franchise quarterback to step up and make plays and take this game back for the Buffalo Bills. And that's what Josh Allen and his offense has done in week 1. And this is hopefully a trend that can start for the Buffalo Bills. And I know they was chanting MVP early, of course, even in week 1, 3 quarters in week 1, Buffalo Bills our fans chant MVP. But if we can get that play, that consistent play, he didn't put the ball in harm's way today, right? No. But besides holding the ball a bit too long, he didn't put the ball in harm's way. And when Josh Allen is doing that, not putting the ball in harm's way, he's definitely, in my opinion, surpasses Patrick Mahomes as the best player in the NFL when he's not turning the football over. So hopefully that's the Josh Allen we can continue to get. And again, Thursday we'll see if the Buffalo Bills can kick it up a notch and go 2-0 against the Miami Dolphins.
And I think we will. I don't worry about the Dolphins. I just don't. That could be the Buffalo Bills trash talking me, or it can be the fact that we've won 12 of the last 14. Call it what you want. A spade is a spade, as you say. I'm not worried about the Dolphins. I just don't concern myself with them at all. But yeah, other than that, it's go Bills, baby. Football's back.
Go Bills, baby.
All right. And that, everybody, is the show. See you in 2 weeks. But actually, I'll see you next week on the Redzone Report.
Yeah.
And in 2 weeks, I'll see you back on the postgame show.
Yes, sir. Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills. That's not what I meant to do.